Self-isolation versus social distancing. So it all got stirred this weekend when I saw this amazing clip. A guy from the United States, he had a 9-year-old boy, and he tells us the story that, and his heading was, my son died of COVID-19. I was like, sure, but there's no kids dying from COVID-19. What's happening? So I took the time to listen to it. So he was just telling that throughout this time, how his boy, without even knowing, started deteriorating and into a depression, like a very, very quiet, unknown depression due to self-isolation. All right, so when I say to you, during this lockdown, social distancing versus self-isolation, what comes to mind immediately?
That's a good question. What comes, I don't know why, but what came straight to my mind is, one is the consideration for others, and the other is the consideration for yourself. I think the first mistake we're making is that we're not treating this like a season. And guys are coming in saying, how am I going to live my life like this for the rest of my life? And there's like this perspective that we've started to gather around the fact that this is the new normal. But I really don't believe it isn't. Things come and things go. And I think when we focus so much on this being our new reality and forget that this moment that we're living in now is purely just a season that we're going through, it's going to come to an end and a new season's going to start, and we don't know what that's going to look like. But guess what? That season's going to come to an end and then a new season's going to start. I think when we get so kind of engrossed in this idea that this is life, we are stuck, we are on our own, we are at home, I think that could very quickly eat away and kind of start taking us into a state of depression, bro, when we think that this now is going to be our new normal forever. And so I think our perspective is something that we're not getting right at the moment. We're thinking this is our forever, but it's a season, and every season will change. And I think our lesson in this season is for us to learn from it, not to grieve it, not to learn from it, embrace it, because a new season's coming that we're going to miss this season. Funny enough, I know people are sitting out there saying, no way we'll miss this, it's dangerous, it's killing people. I'm not talking about the bad, I'm talking about the good that we find in the bad. I
think, like you were saying, it's just a season. Let's not think long term. And one thing we're not doing is we are immediately off the bat, we are fearful, we are jumping to conclusions, what ifs. And I think that's one of the main things that keeps us uncertain.
So I think that everybody's facing one of two pains, and one pain will pay off and the other won't. We're facing the pain of discipline, or we're facing the pain of regret. For everybody, it's one or the other. So you're either being disciplined, and that's hard in itself, or you're not being disciplined and you're facing the pain of regret. The difference between facing the pain of discipline is that there's a reward. You're growing, you're moving forward, you're changing, you're impacting, you're making a difference. And so I think the first thing we need to embrace is discipline. And we've spoken about this before, but I want to say it again. If we are not being disciplined, we're not going to achieve. Bro, greatness doesn't happen by accident. Let's be real here. Nobody who's made an impact in history, if we think back, has never said, well, in their autobiography, I accidentally just found influence. I accidentally preached a great message. I accidentally prayed and someone raised from the dead. No, praying and raising from the dead comes from first hours of spending quality time in prayer. There's a private life that manifests a public life, right? And so I think that we have to we got to get discipline right, bro. We've got to be committed to waking up and having purpose and saying, and I think that's what, to answer the question, bro, that's what I've done. I've decided that I'm going to get up every morning and I'm going to say, God, what have you got for me? What is going to make the most kind of impact in my own personal life, as well as what can I do for others? And what can I apply my mind to today that is going to make tomorrow better, bro?
You guys mentioned the other night with Elevation Youth, and the guy was saying that if by end of this time, when we come out of here and we've achieved nothing, what would the season of lockdown be if we didn't achieve anything? And it's not about I want to achieve, like you said, the other people that we are seeing. It's like, what can you personally achieve during this time? I think it's important that we identify goals, we set goals, We set waypoints. If we get there, we tick them off. Also, if we find things to develop ourselves on the way there, that's how we grow. It's not having a perfect plan right now. No one going into lockdown had a perfect plan.
You know, you're gonna make me bring Jesus into this now, and that's okay, because that's what we do
Amen.
here, bro. When I look at the Bible, I think that we have got the greatest opportunity to be the most gospel-centered that we've ever had before, bro. And the reason I say that is this, because the whole gospel and the center of what we believe is on loving people, bro. That's what it's about. Jesus gives us what is the greatest commandment in heaven? Love God, love people. Love God, love people. That's what the Bible's about. And when I'm thinking about this idea of self-isolation, people have an issue with it because it affects you, because you're the one who's stuck in your house. But self-isolation is about people, right? It's about living the gospel life, and the fact that I can't risk going out because me risk to other people is going to end up other people dying. Bro, how sad is this? I had a conversation with a guy the other day, and he said to me, you know what, Dust? The self-isolation thing is nonsense. I think what we should do is let the virus run its course, let the strong live, and let the weak die, bro. And I just thought, man, he says to me, I've got the rights. My human right is not to be stuck in my house. I'm like, bro, you got no rights. All of our rights belong to Christ. And I'm like, dude, I know self-isolation sucks, but I'm like, we are living in an opportunity where we can be the most gospel-centered that we've ever been in our life, bro. We get to love people with the greatest expression by laying down our own rights and locking ourselves at home so that other people won't get sick. That's beautiful, bro. Like, I don't know. Anyway, bro, you're getting me started. You're getting a preacher boy going.
Oh, yes. That's it.
We've got to have a bigger perspective of what God is doing, bro. And our true definition of loving people during this time is to stay at home, bro. Stay at home and don't risk the chance of infecting other people, and allow the season to pass, but to pass in peace and with the life of God in it, bro.
But let's talk about warning signs. If we're going down the wrong road, what is warning signs we can see in our friends or in ourselves?
I think if someone's always frustrated, every time you talk to them, they tell you how frustrated they are. If every time you talk to them, they tell you how hard their life is, or I think that's a warning sign. Another one of my favorites is when someone keeps saying they're busy. I'm like, bro, you're stuck at home, dude. You're not going anywhere. You're not in a meeting. So, but I think by saying I'm busy is usually a way of copying up, because you can't cope with what the demand is or what the ask is. And so I think if one of your friends are constantly saying, I'm busy, it's best you be checking on them, because yes, there's a reality to being busy, but at the same time, bro, we're at home. You can only do a certain amount of Zoom calls, which means that they're busy in their mind, which means there's a burden that they're carrying at the moment. And so I think that's some of the warning signs. I think if guys just go quiet, I think that in itself is also another warning sign, that if you're just not hearing from someone, they've disconnected from your friendship groups, or they're not replying to your messages. And it's all coping mechanisms. Those are all fruits of the coping mechanisms that we're trying to use to get through these things. And I want to just say this, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of reality. Everyone thinks that I've always just got my life together. I'm super Jesus, bro. Like, because I'm a pastor or a youth pastor, I never go through tough times. Man, I struggled, bro. I struggled during the first 2 weeks of lockdown. I was so demotivated. I didn't want to talk to people. I forced myself because it's my duty, my job. And when people shared their burdens with me, in my heart, I was like, bro, even me, I've got burdens. Why don't we have a tea party and both cry about it? You know what I mean? So it's not a sign of weakness that you're struggling during this time. It's a sign of wisdom to say, man, this is where I'm at and I need help. It's not weakness, it's honesty, bro. It's just be real with yourself. And so if you can see those warning signs in your own life, just be real. No one is perfect. There's no pastor that's perfect. The only perfect man was crucified, bro. No one else is perfect. And so I think we must own up to it. And as soon as I did, and I remember even phoning you saying, bro, I'm just so demotivated. I'm struggling to find work. Even after that conversation, even though you gave me no great advice, we should have gone live because I got all the good stuff out of you when we go live. I still left feeling like connected, and just the fact that I felt like someone heard me and someone listened to me complain. Another friend of mine, Chase, I always just complain to him, and him and I have great conversation. He's a pastor in Joburg, and he's just we're all normal, bro. We're all human. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge that we're human, we're normal, we're struggling. As soon as we do that, it's like something just like burdens off of you, you know? But I think it's the guys who are just always trying to be strong, bro. Always trying to be the strong ones, always trying to never, you know, like during this time, you've got the most, you know, someone said to me, I've got the most time on my hands. I should be the most productive. I'm like, yeah, but we're also dealing with anxiety and the uncertainties and the unknown and the virus and lots of scary stuff going on at the moment. It's good to talk to people, you know.
Lekker. Yes.
I'm not allowed to say this, but I'm gonna. Tim's actually going live on this channel on Thursday. And she's already cringing because we haven't even decided this is what's happening. But I thought if I just announced it, then she has to do it.
Oh, yes.
And that's live at 5 with Tim. I'm not sure if it's at 5, but I'm just going for it. And that's going to be girl talk, right? Tim's going to interview women.
Yes.
So I just think, you know what I love about that? One, the girls get to do, I don't even know what they talk about. So I'm going to log into that just to see what happens. But then we get to talk about awesome stuff like cars and motorbikes. Not all this pressure around what we were already talking about. I'm just kidding. But I just get told that everything we say is always so manly, which I was stoked about. I didn't see that as an insult, bro. But Tim is going live on our Amped Movement thing on Thursday, and she's interviewing women and talking about all things girly.